You're listening to the Motor Mouths.
What's wrong with chrome stick-on flames?
Motor Mouth!
What's wrong with stuff like that?
Hey, Chris. Hey, Ray.
I'm glad they both could make the show.
I tell you, I was fearful to come here.
You have to be easy on it. You know, you can't beat it to death.
I tell that to Ray all the time. I never listen.
Getting back to automotive nonsense.
I'm excited for two reasons today. It has nothing to do with Chris.
Motor Mouth. That's a good friend to tell you you suck.
You're a piece of work.
You guys fishing for a phone call, so I gave you one.
Our trained staff of 2 will help.
Hi, I'm here to help.
We'll put you in a car. We'll see if you're as bad behind the wheel as you are behind the mic.
After that introduction,
Motor Mouth!
I can't wait to hear what I'm going to say.
You guys are great, and your show is great.
Every week they talk about cars on this show.
Yeah, I hope you guys don't have sponsorship deals.
Called Motormouth Radio.
I thought this was Dr. Ruth. I'm sorry.
It's the best damn talk show here at the station.
Believe it or not, you steered me in the right direction.
The Motor Mouth, the second greatest show ever.
I don't want to prolong this agony because I'm sure there are other people who want to call.
Quite frankly, there are better things to do with your time.
Hey, listen, I get you guys going over there.
We don't need to know that you took the car to ballet lessons and then to ShopRite.
I'm not a car guy, but I really enjoy listening to your guys' show, man.
Yeah, I want to know what the is wrong with my car.
Okay, you guys are usually very technically correct.
Motor Mouth!
I'm glad Ray doesn't give me enough time to think about it, because then I might change my mind.
There are answers, sometimes correct ones, and we may have them.
Motormouth Radio, 90.3 FM, WHPC.
Motor Mouth!
This is Motormouth Radio, your 1-hour automotive talk show. And now, here are your Motormouths, Chris Switzer and Ray Guarino.
Alrighty, out of all the automotive talk shows that piss you off, well, ours is the best. This is Motormouth Radio, your 1-hour automotive talk show right here on Long Island. I'm Chris Switzer. And of course, if it's got a short in a wire, if it's got a leak in a tire, or if it was recently on fire, this man will tell you all about it right from behind the shop bench. Ray Guarino, how are you, my brother?
I've even worked on it if it was a Manx by Meyer.
A Meyer Manx?
Good, Chris. You know, today,
yeah,
the year I was born, today in the year I was born, is historic because
the 1906.
Something like that. A couple of years later.
1908.
The Lunar Probe Pioneer 1 was launched.
Ooh.
And I didn't know because I was just being born. Actually, let's see. This is what month is October? Yes, I was about a month old at this time, so I really didn't know.
NASA used its trebuchet.
They might have, yeah.
And the Pioneer was built out of wood.
That could have been too. Well, it may be because it failed to go out as far as planned, fell back to Earth, and burned up in the atmosphere.
And most of it is sitting in your garage.
And I think because we had that article at home, it was a harbinger of my future radio career to come. So we celebrate the Pioneer 1 and my crappy radio existence today, as it were. Your turn.
Thank you.
It's like tag team now.
It's true.
Yeah.
You know. Basically, I haven't been working on the car. I've been very busy traversing across this fine, upstanding tri-state area.
What's different about that?
I really
do
am
that all the time.
I know. It's amazing how I'm just so limited. I found that working on a vehicle, it's now come to the point where you have to do good work and you have to do it as quickly as possible. When before we used to mess up cars. It'd take all day to mess up cars when we were younger.
Yeah.
Right. Then as we were older and wiser, we got to champion the good job, well done, but it took us all day. Now that good job, well done has to take us like 45 minutes.
Yeah, I have a way around that.
How's that? Take it to a shop.
Well, no, you're talking about vehicle maintenance, which of course we all need to do or have done, and of course that's the the nuts and bolts of owning a car. If you had worked on a project car, on the other hand,
right,
that's the way you get around it because, like myself, for the last 4 years, I had a project car I was working on, and it. Many times I was in that garage and I got, I'd make 2 steps forward and 3 steps back and say, you hit the wall, you're ready to throw something, but I don't have to drive it to work tomorrow.
Right.
Put the stuff away, close the door, go in the house. And when you need that time away from the rest of your life, you can walk out there and then you can pick something up, either a little subsystem and play with something or clean things up, or get into something big like a major subassembly or whatever.
And of the few things we agree upon, I can honestly say yes to that. That is the truth. And a lot of times what happens is the multi-car family that I belong to, if you have a car that's needs a state of repair and you get into that point where you needed the car for work and you start working on it and things break and you go, ugh, now that car that you needed for work gets reverted back to a project car.
Well,
and you use the other car for
Well, I was
work.
going to say, that's the beauty of it, the way that we happen to run our automotive livelihoods. We have more than one car to use at any time.
But how long, I think we've said this before, when did you own more than one car?
Pretty much almost always.
Always, right?
Like in the very beginning, no, but right after that, yeah. Because I always had a couple around, so it was throw another on the road, and then I'll change that engine or rear end, and then I just always had. Then I had a motorcycle in the car.
Right.
Then I actually had a motorcycle in 2 cars for a while. You know, I went through that.
I thought about it.
I mean, that's in my 20s.
No, it's true. Even in my teens, I got my first car when I was 13 years old. I drove it, but the state didn't really know. But I didn't go far with it, like around the block about 8,000 times. That was about it. Mm-hmm. But that wasn't the legal car. Mm-hmm. The legal car I purchased, I still had the first one.
Yeah.
The one when I was 13. I got one at 17. And now I had 2 cars. So I got my license, and now I own 2 cars.
Right.
And it stayed that way, 2 cars being almost the minimum. The only time I had 1 car was, I'd say, a short couple-of-week period when I was in college.
That's happened to me, too, where certain periods I only had 1 car. But then I always had 1 car and a motorcycle. And in the winter, that didn't stop me.
Let's go to the phones. Let's go to the fun. Let's say hi. You're on with the Motor Mouths.
Good morning. I woke up to your happy, smiling faces.
How you doing,
You're looking at the wrong channel.
I always get the wrong channel. This is my penance. I have to do this, otherwise I'm going to be doomed to hell for the rest of my days.
Yes, you will.
Don't you realize you're actually there now?
I am there.
You got to hope to get out.
First of all, happy birthday. Hopefully many, many more for you, Ray. Right? And be healthy, happy. That's the whole idea.
Well, thank you. It's passed a bit now, but yeah, thank you very much anyway. I appreciate that.
All right. We made 2 good points from listening to you. Number 1, about maintenance. All right? And I was a firm believer, and I've been preaching this, and I learned it back in the head with screwdrivers. There's preventive maintenance and there's corrective maintenance. Mm-hmm. And I need not say the difference between the 2.
Right.
And the old cliche, if it's broke, don't fix it. When it comes to cars, that is not true. Do you agree?
Absolutely.
I don't agree. Right? No, I like to try and break it. Yeah.
Yeah, well, you like the tow truck with the cars that you drive, right? Right? You like looking at a nice shiny hook all the time coming around.
I like to try and break it. Yeah, I like to try and every once in a while I'll see, like, let's see, maybe this needs to be bent a little bit. Oh, damn! All right, let's see if I can fix this. I don't mind doing that.
Well, it's also the type of cars you drive. You drive an English car. No matter what preventive maintenance you do, it's going to break. It just has nothing to do with it. I just finished working on it, as Ray was saying, about the project cars.
Mm-hmm.
You could go, you could tinker, it clears your head, you walk away when you had enough. You're not like a shop where you have to work, get it out, struggle with it, and the customer has to be there and get the car on the road. It is one of the most relaxing pastimes. And I find being retired now, I look forward to hanging out in the garage. We have what is known as garage parties, where a couple of guys come over. They bring their car, whatever has to be done or maintained or fixed, and a 45-minute job turns into 6 hours.
Yeah. Hey, Brock, I'm not retired, and I'm doing that.
Yep, and that's the way you do it. This way you can go to work with a fresh head.
Yeah.
No, very
good question, right? And like you said before, it just clears the mind. Even if you're not a mechanic, right, go out there, clean the inside of the windshield, vacuum under the car. Check your tire pressure. Throw a little wax on the bumpers.
That's
right,
better.
because it's a whole different perspective. All right? Just doing something that's out of the ordinary and relaxing.
I want to say, too, Brock, what you said about English cars, talking about preventive maintenance, I think when you're working on anything you do with English cars becomes preventive road time or preventive driving.
Preventive walking time.
Yeah, it's a matter of how much in between you get.
Right. I just finished this 2-week project on 71 MGB GT.
Nice
we
car.
had to pull the motor on it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. How'd that go?
I'm sorry?
How did it go?
Well, we got the car running and made it home from my garage, so I'm happy.
That was a 1500 cc engine?
1.4, 1.6, I forget exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Real small.
I split the difference.
Twin carbs on it.
Yeah.
And what happened was, and this is typical British. One of the guys at the museum I work with, he was an SCC racer. And he had this little MG, so he was down in Southern California over the summertime, and he was towing the car, and the car jumped into gear, and it blew the motor.
Wow.
So he has a friend, he's come from Southern Cal, a friend of his that he used to work in the shop, brought the car to him, and they pulled the motor, they rebuilt the motor. Right? So far, so good?
Right.
It's to Carson City, which is about 700 miles from where he had the car repaired. And that was over a 2-day, 3-day trip. He's on his way back up, and the rear freeze-out plug blows out on him.
Oh, great.
Yeah, beautiful. So, as you say, it's back on a hook, And he calls me up, hey, could you do me a favor? I said, what happened? And the freeze-out plug blew. Yeah, no big. What's involved in putting the freeze-out plug in?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right.
Said,
well, you got to figure out why.
On this car.
Yeah.
So we had to pull the motor, literally pull the motor out of the car, which first one I've done since I'm living out here. I didn't feel like getting involved with that kind of nonsense anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But get it on the floor. Then you got to pull the tranny out. Then you got to pull the clutch pressure plate out. Then you got to take the flywheel off. Then you got to take the intermediate sheet out just to get to the plug.
Wow.
So the funny part about it is this typical British technology. The plug is accessible through the intermediate plate, transmission mounting plate, whatever you want to call it. So the plug is, let's say, 1.5 inches wide.
Mm-hmm.
The hole they put right in front of the freeze-out plug is 1 inch. So you can't come through it to set it. You got to strip everything down to set the plug in.
Oh, God,
wow.
that's great.
Oh, my gosh.
Unbelievable.
That's good.
So that was the first step. Typical British. Not a question there. So then we go to put the clutch pressure plate back in, and naturally my clutch aligning tool doesn't have the right tit in order to fit into the pilot bushing. All the sizes I have are too small because the Brits had to use this giant oversized input shaft. So I made a couple of phone calls. Nobody had one. So we mic'd up the pilot bushing. He made a wooden plug to fit the end of the shaft to the clutch aligning tool, and that's how we got this thing back together.
Well, that's the essence of the whole thing, Brock. It's ingenuity and being able to work on the fly and get the job done.
That's it. That comes with experience and tinkering in the garage, and also knowing the right people. That helps the network. It does, boy. Yeah, that's one thing I got to say I miss out here. At least now I'm starting to make contacts, in the industry by working at the museum and still doing a lot of side work. I'm meeting people that are specialists, but not being in New York, I need somebody. Call this guy, call that guy. Who knows this? Who's got this information? Right? I need this. I haven't done this job. What's involved? That kind of thing. So it's always good. Even if you're not a car person, get out there, go to the car shows, talk to the people, call up people who know what's going on, and ask questions. Right? And what it does, it translates into saving you money when you got to get done. Right? So it comes down to. Really, really great. So today I'm going to go play in my car. I got to change the power steering pump. It finally said, I quit, had enough, so it's moaning and groaning like me. Getting out of bed, getting into bed, and standing up. All the aches and pains of old age. It's
always good to hear from you.
It's a pleasure.
About freeze-out plugs and insanity in British engineering, I know it all too well.
Right, I know you do. That's why I had to bring you that story, that little tidbit, so you could enjoy someone else's misery. Well, listen, have a great week. Enjoy the rest of your week, guys, and I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
516-572-7440 is the phone number to get a hold of us. We have an issue with the phones.
I see you've been playing with buttons
we got an issue with them. I think Bronk was getting a little delay from us, so I'm trying to figure out what it is.
Okay.
So mind my button pushing here.
I would hope that what he did is in that intermediate plate that had the inch hole that he couldn't get through. I would hope that when he had it out, he made that hole bigger so that now the next time you could get through without taking the whole clutch apart.
My question is, why did it blow out in the first place?
Correct. Yeah, of course.
And if it did, now you make that hole bigger. Aren't you going to increase the chances of it blowing out again?
Wrong hole, Kimasabi. You're again once in the wrong stall with your horse. No, the freeze-out plug is in the engine block.
Right.
And it blew out. So why it blew out is certainly a question you want to know the answer to.
Right.
But to get at it, as he was explaining, is an intermediate plate between the engine and transmission.
Oh, okay, yes.
And that has an access hole that was smaller than the freeze-out plug, so you couldn't work through it.
Mm-hmm.
That hole, I would hope that he made larger.
Right.
And then again, you say, it's the next guy's problem. Don't worry about it. I'll tell you a problem that I had just yesterday.
Yeah.
I see you brought a part in with you.
I did.
And I have one as well after we spoke about your car with the cooling system issue.
Yeah.
I was working on my daughter's car yesterday. Honda John and I got a radio working in the car again.
You did?
And he burned up Dodge, yeah.
May I ask how you did it? Did you take my sound advice and
Probably not. What would I do that for?
And go onto eBay and find the original part for that car and just plug it right in?
No, I looked on eBay and I looked on a couple of sites to try and get the part. It was unobtainium. I found a link to a couple that were a lot of money.
I could find it.
Then I went go right ahead because I could still plug and play it.
Okay, good.
We modified the system, but we worked around it so it can still be used when needed.
How did
Because that's how we work.
I was going to say, how did you, literally, you opened the box up and modified around it?
The amplifier's not in the car anymore.
Oh, okay.
No. I actually got in touch with the guys down at Freeport Auto. I got a hold of Bart to see if he could get one.
Right.
He says, no, there's nothing, but contact this guy in Jersey. He's got everything like that. I called the guy in Jersey. He says, no, I had one, but we sold it. I said, any idea when you get another? I have no idea. So, okay. So what I did was we put the factory radio back in, and we did a test. We ran tests on the wires to see which speakers were alive and well. And the bottom line, just to cut to the chase, is we have the stock radio back in the car and the front speakers working.
Okay.
Because there's only one rear speaker now. I don't have just one in the back, so I have it wired that way. So at least she has sound and noise, and she can drive the car.
Because the other speaker's flambe.
It's melted on the trunk floor. But after that, I said, okay, she's going to start a new job tomorrow. Let me look at the car again. I had gone through the thing with the cooling system where it was bubbling and crazy.
Yeah.
I saw that the coolant, the overflow bottle was empty again. Empty. So I opened the radiator, and I found the radiator cap came out in pieces, and I think there's a piece missing.
Yeah, that's a Mitsu radiator cap.
That's an Eclipse engine and powertrain in the car.
Holy smokes.
So maybe that's why, like you said with your car, you had air getting into the system because of a bad cap. Maybe that's what happened with her car as well.
I'm holding it up on vaughnlive.tv/motormouthradio.
I was kind of on the that was like a secondary thing that had nothing to do with the fire, but it just seemed to happen at the same time. And no, I would have never known. When I took this off last time, just last week, it was fine. So I took it off today, and it was bad.
I have to show you something.
All right, what do you got?
I brought my cap in as well.
Yeah, you had your own malady.
Yeah.
That's a big Mama Luke.
Take a look at that.
Oh, yeah, the rubber's split.
The rubber's split on it.
That's it.
And I had to laugh because I went through the process of trying to evacuate what I thought was air in the system.
Yeah.
And I went to go do that.
Wow.
And I let the car run. I opened up the cap and just let it run until it warmed up. I actually saw the coolant fans come on, which was a good sign. And basically no air came out. The system was pretty full. There was no air, no blockage whatsoever. Ray is holding up the cap on vaughnlive.tv/motormouthradio. He's messing with my little rubber grommet there. And I found that it was fine. And I'm thinking to myself, I remember the first thing someone had said online about a bad cap. And I'm saying, since when do radiator caps go bad? And of course I look at the bottom of my cap as the car's running, and of course there's the rubber gasket is broken. It's split.
Just so people, which choices of parts we each choose to use, by the way.
So how much did your new radiator cap cost?
$6.
Mine cost $6.20.
I don't pay that cent stuff at the auto parts store. They round it off for me.
You don't bother with that silly stuff. Let's go. Let's take a quick break right here at Motormouth Radio. 516-572-7440. When we come back, we'll be taking your calls and comparing caps once again here on this fine program. And, of course, the Motormouth Radio Honor Group of the Hour. If you misplaced your spare set of car keys, if you don't know where the heck they are, you're running on one set. You're flying without a net, and you're part of the Motormouth Radio Honor Group of the Hour. So keep it where you got it, because we got a lot more of this silly mess coming your way right here at Motormouth Radio.
Have a question about your car or someone else's car? Then give the Motormouths a call.
More of this silly mess coming your way right here at Motormouth Radio.
Have a question about your car or someone else's car? Then give the Motormouths a call. 516-572-7440.
WHPC 90.3, the radio voice of Nassau Community College, is looking for individuals, businesses, charities, or organizations in our local and global community that would like to donate to support our radio station. Whether you listen locally or online, here is how it works. Go to our webpage at ncc.edu/WHPC and click Donate Now. Or if you prefer, you can send a check to WHPC Radio, 1 Education Drive, Garden City, New York, 11530. Make check payable to the NCC Foundation. In the memo of your check, write WHPC Donate Now. Any contributions will help defray our operating costs, and it's tax deductible. This message was brought to you by the radio voice of Nassau Community College. Streaming online at ncc.edu/w.
Your car not running right? Motormouth help you out at 516-572-7440.
Alrighty. Welcome back to Motormouth Radio. Let's see. Can you talk?
We're not fixed yet, I think.
We're not. But we're close. We are close. Can you hear me now? Yes, I think I see this.
I don't. Bring my level up on this headphone, please. The middle pot. Yeah. Thank you.
There you go.
It is delayed.
It is delayed? How about now?
No, now it's live.
Check
yeah.
1 2. Check
That's
1 2.
good.
Okay, good.
Now answer the phone.
We got this figured out. Now we're going to really check to see if the show is operating properly, and we're going to go to the phones and say, hi, you're on with the Motormouths.
Hey, what's up? It's Pirate Paul.
Hey, what's up, Paul? How are you, brother?
I am at the Hicksville Fire Department car show and barbecue cook-off.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah. What are you doing there?
What am I doing there? I'm showing my car.
No way. Which one?
The Doo-Buggy.
Oh, awesome.
Now, please tell us, Paul, last week you won an award with that car at a show. Tell us about that.
Yeah, last week at the Long Island Volkswagen Club show, I pulled first place in the Doo-Buggy class.
Nice.
You were the only one there.
How big was the field?
Yeah, pretty much. No, there was, I guess, about a half dozen buggies.
That's it?
Roughly.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, something like that. 4 or 6, something like that. But hey,
was our friend Chico there?
Yes, Chico was there.
Chico is Paul's clone with the purple doom buggy. I tell you,
No way.
Everywhere Paul goes, Chico's soon to follow.
You mean there's actually 2 of those things out there?
There's actually 3.
Yes, but Chico's is not a metal flake.
No, it's not. It's nice. It's a nice doom buggy.
So there are 3 purple doom buggies on the East Coast, let alone in Long Island?
That I've seen.
There's a lot of them, actually. There's quite a few kicking around.
Holy moly.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing.
I did get quite a few, compliments on the paint.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
I do get that. Well, I have to say, the sun's out. It's nice. It's sparkling on, so it looks good.
And I hope you didn't go into the diatribe on what you think is wrong with it to everyone that Good.
No, kept my mouth shut.
Paul, let me ask you that's very rare. Let me ask you something. How was your family's reaction when you brought home that award?
Actually, my daughter looked a little surprised.
Okay.
My wife was very ecstatic. My wife was happy, jumping up and down.
Really?
You won. Yes.
Well, that's just because you were out of the house for the day.
Pretty much.
Yeah,
Pretty
and
much.
now she goes, oh, damn, he's back.
My daughter, she comes out of the back, she's like, you won? Like, yeah, surprise.
She's a late model elitist, that's all.
Now, a little backstory to this Doom Buggy. You built this, it was like a side project to your main project, since your main project was being shelved.
Right.
Your side project was this.
No, my main project wasn't being shelved. My main project was actually out having work done to it.
Oh, okay. But
remember, at Celebrity Chase.
Right, but of course you have itchy fingers. You needed another project to keep you occupied until your main project came back.
Pretty much.
Right?
Yeah.
So, and of course, me thinking, this is going to be quick.
Short time, yeah.
2.5 years later.
Well, that is pretty quick.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
In Ray's time, it's pretty quick.
So now there's 6 girls lined up taking a picture in front of the Doom Buggy.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So, Paul, I think you got to paint the GTX that color.
I think so.
Yeah.
It's starting to look that way.
I think so. I'm for it. Set of Craigers and we're set.
But what I love, Paul, is that your family kind of gave you like groans about that Doom Buggy. You're like, oh, Dad, come on, what are you doing? Oh, come on.
Yeah.
They didn't really support you very well, did they?
Initially, they don't support me in anything.
That's okay. We do.
We understand. Yeah, we sympathize.
Well, initially, no. But I have to say, once that thing got on the road, my wife, number one, was surprised. But they do support me. Hey, she's here today.
Oh, really?
Wow.
She was here yesterday. She's here today. Here last week, and she's here today.
Very
Holy
nice.
Moly, yes.
So I have to, I got to give them credit.
Are you sure you didn't lose? She didn't lose a bet?
I'm sure. Yes. Well, Rose is bored.
No, not with this one. The other one, she's going to lose a bet.
Yeah.
All right, listen, guys. I don't want to take up too much of your time, and it's a little tough to hear with the music.
Right.
But listen, hey, it's a great show. If anybody out there is listening, if anybody's out there is listening.
And I tell you what, if you want to cruise by the house on your way back and show us your next award, we'll be happy to take a look at it.
First, tell us where it is again, Paul. Just so we know.
It's right in the Sears parking lot in Hicksville.
Right.
You can't. There was a big pink pig outside. It's still there. There's a big pink inflatable pig. It's right across from the Boulder Creek. That's in the mall over here in Hicksville.
Yes,
It's on the south side of the Sears building. What is this? 106, 107 right over here?
It's 106.
Yeah. There's, like I say, it's a big barbecue cook-off, lots of ribs and all kinds of stuff. So I'm dying here, smelling so good.
Yeah.
There's like a super-duper size lifted truck that they're giving rides in.
Oh, cool.
It's, I can't see the name on here. TNT something. I can't see it from here.
Mm-hmm.
But they have, it's really high up. It's like 2 stories high.
Wow.
A big pickup. So, there's a bunch of stuff to do out here.
That's cool.
A bunch of vendors out and, good times for all.
Sounds good, my brother.
And a lot of cars. A lot of cars.
Very cool. Well,
actually, what's out here, which I haven't seen in a long time?
What?
A Bricklin.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Son of a gun. Is it either yellow or white?
White.
Yeah.
They didn't make it in any other color.
Yeah. The white one. I have not seen one of those in I don't know how long.
Yeah, I believe it. You're not going to get into another project, right?
Yeah.
No more projects. You don't want another one, so don't offer anything.
No. Well, I do, but not until the other one's done. Not until the X is done.
Right.
Well, congratulations on the award for the Doom Buggy, my brother.
All right. Thanks a lot.
All right, maybe we'll see you later on, Paul.
All right. We'll see you later on, okay?
Okay, great.
Talk to you later.
Right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
516-572-7440. It's nice to hear from correspondent Pirate Paul.
Why don't we take a quick break now, because we have Dina Parisi waiting to get through. I'll cue her up after we take a quick break.
Sounds very good. Dina Parisi on the line, waiting to talk with us from Dina Parise Racing. That's Ray Guarino. I'm Chris Switzer. This is Motormouth Radio, your one-stop shopping for all things automotive. We talk about everything here. We're going from dune buggies to drag racing in nothing flat. And you can check the show out on Performance Motorsports Network, and you can also hear us on iHeartRadio. Very proud of those 2 upstanding networks that really want to follow us. It's crazy.
The Motormouths will be right back with your car questions. Give us a call at 516-572-7440.
Bill Horan presents Secrets of Success, the show designed to help listeners uncover their hidden talents to maximize success. Listen to Secrets of Success Wednesdays at 4 p.m. and Sundays at 7:30 a.m. on 90.3 FM WHPC, the voice of Nassau Community College. Streaming at ncc.edu/WHPC.
Your car not running right? Let the Motormouths help you out at 516-572-7440.
That's us. That's Ray Guarino behind the shop bench. I'm Chris Switzer. 516-572-7440. Beautiful day out there. Very nice. We are liking the way the fall is happening for us right here. Yes, Ray.
Okay, that light should flash any second, and it should be Dina. I just told her, hit it. She says she doesn't have a lot of time, so she's a busy woman right now.
Well, it's always with Ms. Dina Parisi from Dina Parise Racing. Of
Correct.
Course, she's busy. She's in a points race.
She is number 1 in the points race.
Last we spoke to her.
She took the points race. That's what this call is about. Dina's got some really good breaking news.
All righty, let's go to the phones, to the fun. Hi, you're on with the Motormouths.
Hey, guys, Dina Parisi.
There she is, world champion.
Awesome.
Nice. The crown has been passed. There's no more ice skate on your head. Now it is a Pro Mod World Championship Crower Pro Mod crown. Dina, congratulations.
It is it's crazy, I'll tell you. I just ducked into somebody's trailer, so I hope that you'll be able to hear me because I think they're going to start running cars. But it's crazy. And you know what? We did it without a win. I had 2 runner-ups this year, so we did it without a win. I was, a bridesmaid twice and not a bride. Much.
Right.
Andrew kind of wishes that was the truth. But
yeah, right. Or someone else's. Now, you're down in Memphis. Right, you're in.
We're in Memphis,
right.
Yeah. I didn't get to go to Graceland. We actually wanted to go there when we got here in the beginning of the week, but we actually both had the flu.
Oh wow!
That's how the week started.
Yummy.
And I won first. I needed to win first round. I needed to stay a round ahead of the number 2 guy.
Mm-hmm.
I won first round on a complete pedal fest.
Now, number 2 guy was Bill Lutz, I believe, was number 2?
Bill Lutz.
What
happened?
He's number 2 now.
Yeah. What happened during the first round? What went on?
Well, I was running a guy named Robert Patrick, who is a very, very seasoned racer. He comes from a family of racers. He's very seasoned. He smoked the tires, and I kind of was riding the center line. I needed to lift. I lifted. He smoked the tires. And Andrew never talks to me on the radio when I'm on the track, but all he said to me was, pedal it, pedal it, pedal it. And which is actually my favorite thing to do. It's a challenge. I love pedaling the car. It's fun.
What can you describe quickly what a pedaling the car? What is that action? What is
pedaling just means get back into it, which is a very difficult thing to do in a pro mod, and you have to be really careful. You need to roll into it. You can't just mash the throttle.
Right.
And so, which is what I did, and I got back into it. He was coming up on me, but I got the win light. I needed the W, and then Bill Lutz was in the next round, and Bill lost that round. And when he came around the corner and he had his head hanging down, Andrew looked at me and he went, "Holy crap!" I go, "What?" He goes, "We just won the championship."
Yeah.
And it was just like I didn't know what to say. It's insane. You know, this is the first year that, you know, IHRA is where Pro Mod was born, and this is the first year that it's back, and. You know, I don't really like to play the chick card, but being a chick and winning Pro Mod its first year back.
That is great.
And having Quayne Stott tuning for us is just cool. Because Quayne was 2006.
You know, Dina, I'm looking,
Pro Mod champion.
There was a 23-car field, and Robert Patrick ended up in 15th, the 15th place with 73 points. Now, that speaks a lot because the top 7 were over 100 points. You ended up with 390 to Lutz's 339. But if the guy with 73 points still gave you a run for your money, you know that it's a tight field, no matter what the points were.
Sure is.
It was, you know what? It was, you know, and I had Billy Harper in the next round, and Billy Harper was running some numbers all day. He was running 92. The dew had set in, and my window fogged up, and I couldn't see the tree. And I was just dead late on the next round. So I unfortunately lost that round. I really wanted to win that race.
You know what you should do, Dina? You should petition IHRA to have them put an app on your smartphone so you can watch it from in the car.
Yeah, well, you know,
get the tree app.
It's funny because I had a conversation with Quayne, and Quayne said to me that you know, that's an issue. But you know what? It is. Things happen. You know, thankfully, I was safe, and that's really all that I'm concerned about. And we came out with the championship over and above everything else, and I'm happy about that.
So, Dina, who's the first spokesperson, who's the first sponsor that has come up to you? You going to get your face on a Wheaties box or something?
You know what? Who knows? But we can't thank all of our marketing partners enough. You know, we have CRC and Speedwire and USA Auto Supply, DJ Safety, Hoosier, LAT, NGK. It's been this year was such a wild ride. You know, I went into the sand. You know, I went into the sand pit. You know, I went to the beach without a bikini.
Right. but you had laundry. You had a parachute.
Right.
So that was an issue. So I mean, it's been such a wild ride all year, and to come out with a championship has just been my team works so hard. And, you know, Andrew is he's a one-man band. He does everything by himself in the shop. He puts that car back together after every race by himself. I can't thank my husband enough, really.
Yeah.
You know, don't get him puffed up too much. I won't let him listen to this interview. And then, you know, Butch Branzel, he comes and he volunteers his time and he helps us. And then Quayne Stott. So, you know, my team's the best. I can't thank them enough.
Absolutely. And just to mention your competitors, Billy Harper ended up with low ET 5953, and Bill Lutz was top speed 245.58.
Actually, no, Billy Harper ran a 592 in the final.
Oh, he bested
ran a
it.
592 in the final. Yeah.
All right. Well, that was the qualifier. Okay. Excellent.
Yeah,
so
and he actually blew his door off last night.
Literally?
In our round.
Literally blew? Oh, how cool.
Literally,
oh, how cool.
In pieces. And last night we heard them. They had the duct tape and the whiz wheel out.
Oh, yeah.
They put that baby back together.
Because that's where the whole boasting, I'll blow your doors off came from. You know, it's like.
Yeah. Congratulations to Billy Harper because they won the final today. So, so it's been a wild ride. And, you know, thank everybody for their support, especially Motormouth Radio, because you guys have been with us really literally from the beginning.
From the sausage and peppers. Yeah, right.
Wow. Thank you so much.
So from the Summit Racing Equipment IHRA World Finals, the Nitro Jam Nationals from Memphis International Raceway, Dina Parisi, champion. And congratulations to you, Drew, and the whole team.
That's true.
Thank you guys so much, and hello to all our Long Island peeps.
Yeah, I just the only melancholy thing for me is I wish that the trophy was coming back to Long Island, but it's not. But that's okay. You deserve
You know what?
it.
If we head back to the island, we will certainly bring it with us.
Oh, nice.
So, Dina, what's your plan now for today? You going to bask in the glow? What are you doing?
Well, we of course had work to do. We had packed the trailer and everything, and we're going to take pictures now, and then maybe we'll get to Graceland. I'm not sure. And then tonight we have the banquet, so we're going to take a cab over and do a little partying.
Excellent.
Nice.
Have a couple for us.
All right, thanks so much, you guys.
Okay, Dina, thank you.
Take care.
All right,
talk to you soon. Congratulations
Bye.
once more. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
That's good
That
news.
is great news.
Wow.
World champion.
Dina Parisi, world champion, son of a gun. Sounds got a nice ring to it.
Those guys that she raced, and there was another girl. Then I saw Melanie Simmons Salemi is down at the bottom of them. She was 23rd. But that's a tight field. Those people are all competitive races. That's no joke.
No, that
No
certainly isn't. So it's a championship well earned. I'm
hell
sure
yeah.
it was well
Hell yeah.
earned. 516-572-7440 is the phone number to get a hold of us here. Open phones. It's an open phone hour. Ray and I are talking to each other on this one. 516-572-7440. You can watch us on VaughnLive.tv/motormouthradio. Got a new view since we can thank Pilot Paul. For giving us the opportunity to get a new view.
Correct.
Yes, here on the satellite there, whatever you want to call it. So anyway,
yeah,
I was on the road.
Okay.
And I want to talk about something that was just annoying.
All right.
Just silly and annoying.
That's what we do.
Yes. Not last night. Yes, last night. Driving along, open evening on the Garden State Parkway. Not a soul on the road heading northbound. I got the wife in front of me with the Jeep. I'm behind her in the Dodge. And we're bopping along doing a big 55 miles an hour in the middle lane, not bothering anybody. And guess what happens?
What happens?
This black Infiniti SUV with Jersey plates decides to get in between us. Not a single soul on the road. We're driving along.
Want to be in a rocking chair. Come on.
Funny thing is, here's the thing. You know a driving technique. In this vein, when you're following your wife, you kind of stay a little close. You don't.
Well, I was going to ask you how much distance you left,
but you stay a little close. You don't give it the 3-second rule.
Okay.
It's a family member.
All right.
So if you hit him, you hit him. No big deal. But I mean, you stay a little close because you really don't want anyone getting in front of you. I mean, I don't like that because
all right.
Not that I say it's my luck, but chances are some doofus gets in front of you, and then they slow down.
Mm-hmm.
And now you watch your person that you're following get further and further away from you, and you can't get around them. Which is what happened.
You could change lanes and go around them.
I'm thinking to myself, are you that clueless, sir?
How much space was? What was the gap between your two cars when this Infiniti cut in?
It was close. It was
close.
That he was like, it was almost like parallel parking with
I
him.
would imagine,
He had to. It was his determination to put that dopey thing, that big lummox of a vehicle, in between us.
Gotta wonder why.
I have no clue.
Yeah, I know.
But you know the first thing I think of?
What?
You.
Why?
Because
I wouldn't do that.
Because you're the only person I know that if you're in a big, huge parking lot, you will park next to the car that's there, even if there's a huge amount of spots all over the place. You will find a car to park
I've been known to do that, sure.
You will do. You'll
I
huddle
did it
up.
today.
You'll huddle up. Do you remember that time you and I were standing in a parking lot? There was not a single car in the lot except for yours and mine. We were parked a space apart.
Yeah.
And you and I are talking in that space, and some dimwit comes around, and where do they want to park?
Yeah, right where we were standing.
Right where we were standing.
That was a relative of mine.
What the hell is wrong
We
with
all
these
park that
people?
way. It's safest spot in the lot, you know? I mean, the car out in the outback. Hey, for a number of reasons, if that person wanted to do something personal or illegal, and if they were parked way out as the outlier, they'd be spotted. But now you park with other cars, maybe you get looked past. I don't know. I don't think that pertains to. Well, this. I mean, I can see how you make the correlation, but I don't understand what the Infiniti driver was thinking.
The funny thing was here. You said the right thing. You want to get around them, but because my wife is doing a mighty 52 miles an hour and doesn't plan on going any faster because she'll get a nosebleed. That I can't get around them.
See, well, here's where you and your wife need to learn the dance of the road. So if that happens, you should talk about this. If she sees you move over, then she should take that cue and also move over.
Correct.
We do this with motorcycles all the time.
You
learn to follow, like the lead. You follow your lead.
Yeah.
But if someone behind you does, if the pack does something, the lead will follow also because it could signal danger.
We do that when we're merging onto traffic, both of us together. I know her Jeep is slower, so what I do is I jump out into that slow lane
like a blocker
from the entrance. Yes.
Gotcha. I got
and
you.
then she merges in, and we both go.
Okay.
Let's go to the phones. Let's go to the fun. Hi, you're on with the Motor Mouths.
It's Kevin from Massapequa.
What's up, Kev? How are you?
All right, Ray, that's breaking guy code. You're not supposed to double park. You wouldn't do it in the men's room.
No, that wasn't double parking. That's not what Chris said. And you're right, wouldn't do it in men's room. No, I don't know how you misunderstood that.
I understand what you said. The entire empty parking lot, you got to put. My wife does. She parks next to one guy in the parking lot. She parks right next to him.
Safest spot in the lot. Safest spot in the lot.
Right. You would never do that in the men's room.
No, I would not. Now, I used to be the other guy where I'd go to the remote locations, and then I'd come out and there'd be 5 cars around me. So I'm like, Christ. You know what? It just doesn't matter anymore. It doesn't matter.
Well, no, because I took my wife. We went out to California. We go to San Diego. That's what is it, 9 mile loop?
Yeah.
My wife tailgates the guy for about 2 miles. Stop the car. What are you talking about? Stop the car. We're the only 2 people on the road, and you hooked to this guy's bumper.
Yeah.
That's funny and let the guy go.
Right.
It's the truth, Kevin. That is so funny. You're absolutely right. I don't get it. Why would you want to huddle around somebody? Let them go.
I don't know.
Let them go. Either you hang back, or it's just like that clown shoe that sits right next to you on the highway.
Yeah.
No, I got the cop car, so it happens all the time. They will bolt themselves onto my quarter panel, and they'll sit there. They don't have the guts to pass me. But there's a lot of times you're bopping along in some civilian vehicle, and someone comes along and they start tracking with you, running parallel with you, door to door, and you're going down the highway the same way. And I'm thinking to myself, why are you taking away an escape route?
Exactly.
If I have to change lanes, you're going to be the second guy it's going to know because I'm going to crash into you. Don't understand it. So yeah, that was last night in all its wit and wisdom. But thank you so much for contributing to that.
I just got the call and I was like, I got a call. This is too much.
Very good. Pleasure as always, Kev. Thanks.
You got it. Thanks. Bye bye.
Take care. Bye bye. Important safety tip: not in the men's room.
Words well taken.
516-572-7440. There's your phone number.
We may have a field reporter, a Motor Mouth Radio field reporter, calling in from the Wicks Road. That's the Long Island Street Rod Association's show and swap meet today.
Oh, very cool.
We'll see what happens with that.
Another silly dumb thing happened.
More?
Yeah, one more thing.
Wow, that stuff follows you, doesn't it?
Yeah, one more thing. I was behind a guy recently that you could tell he was having a bad day. You knew from almost a quarter mile away that this man in this Lexus SUV was having a bad day. Because as I got up to it, I noticed that there were 2 roadie cases that were sitting in the back of the car. Mm-hmm. But I also noticed that somebody slammed the hatch. How do I know this?
I don't know. Huh?
Because the rear window is completely shattered.
Oh, it blew out.
And literally glass is falling out of it.
Yeah, that is a bad day.
I'm like ducking around these shards that are coming at the car. So I get next to the guy. I wasn't going to let him know. I'm sure they knew.
I'm sure.
But I pull him next to him. There's two gentlemen sitting in the car, and they're not saying anything to each other. They're both doing like that blank stare. Like
it was probably the passenger who did it. Don't worry, it'll fit out. No, it won't. Yes, it will. No, what? No.
Boom.
I'll get it. Bang. Crash. Yeah. That's a bad day. That's going to be expensive.
You knew from a quarter mile away.
Yeah, that's going to be expensive.
So, yeah, those were my 2 road ramblings.
Wow.
Which I thought were pretty intense.
I traveled to work and home yesterday, so in the 14 miles that I drove, I saw nothing crazy.
Because you can calculate your commute in a matter of feet.
I could get it down to the inch if I had to, So who's smarter in this equation?
Oh, don't tell me. Believe me, yes. I would much rather swap situations, and you have the stories.
Can't have it. Sorry.
516-572-7440.
No, that was it. After work, came home, and I called in John, because he likes to come out and hang out, and just, guys like to kind of hang. So I knew he would come over and enjoy. So we spent the afternoon just kibitzing and working on the car and playing around and doing a couple little side projects, little things, and he got to get his motorcycle out a little bit, so that was good.
So you were able to keep the radio installed, remove the amp, and still get the front speakers to generate a sound.
And the way we did that was, we never finished. If you picture, there's a harness that comes from the radio down through the car somewhere under the passenger floor, pokes up, and then that plugs into the amplifier on the input side. Then on the output side, there's another harness that goes and feeds the speakers. Okay. Except 2 of the speakers are on the input side. They did some weird things with it's a 7-speaker system. So what we had to do is we had to do some pin-out diagnostics with an ohmmeter and find out which ones were connected, and we literally just ran jumper wires between the harnesses and then taped it all up really good. So it's a temporary yet permanent fix, because if nobody touches it, it'll stay there. Right. And if by some chance I come up with an amplifier, I can literally take those jumpers out, plug the 2 plugs in, bolt it back in, and we're good to go.
Let me see what super sleuthing I can do.
Yeah, you can try. You know what? I wouldn't go out of my way for this because, this car isn't going to be long for the world. My daughter's, now this put her over the edge. She's fed up with it.
Well, who could blame her?
I don't blame her. Although it was no fault of her own. And it really was, it's time for her to get a newer car, something nice.
Very true. I understand, especially when I would assume, looking at your fleet overall, she's probably bringing up the rear with cars that are in whatever condition they're in. Yeah, yeah. I know your daughter doesn't want to be there.
I drove the car yesterday. It still drives great. It stops good. It's it's got a ton of power. It's a real nice car to drive.
They are quick. Those 6s are pretty durable.
It is pretty quick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a nice motor. I don't blame you.
And the transmission shifting issue that I told you about last week, where it was hanging third gear late, it was either a combination of being a little low on fluid or being awful hot. I want to tell you something. I have with me the most aromatic, the best smelling transmission fluid in the world.
The best smelling transmission fluid.
And I want you to take a nice big whiff of this stuff. Give it a good huff.
Ooh.
You don't like that?
Wow.
Come on.
Man, that's bitter and angry.
That's what her car calls for. It's ATF plus 4. Now, funny thing, last week I told you I had Gary, our friend Gary from...
It smells like burnt Chinese food.
It smells like something, but...
I'm going to hold this up to the camera.
Pour it on the camera.
Yeah. It's so funny. We're trying to be technologically on edge here. This is where the technology stops.
Right.
So I'm going to hold this up.
I think the only other place that fluid would be fitting is if you poured it in the interior of your Pathfinder, because it kind of smells like what the Pathfinder smells like now, like hot 90 weight. That is the grossest crap. Well, I had Gary at the house last week when he borrowed my whiz wheel, and I said to him, "Hey, Gary, would you like to smell the worst transmission fluid?" He goes, "ATF 4, right?" I'm like, "Yeah." He beat me to it. It is disgusting. But anyway, now and I thought maybe the Trinity needed a relearn since the battery was disconnected. I drove it yesterday, and it's right back in line. It shifts normal again, and my daughter confirmed that yes, that did happen. I think it was just because the engine was so super hot.
Could very well be. 516-572-7440. There's your phone number. Get a hold of us right here. Phone line is open. It's Open Phones Day here at Motormouth Radio with Ray Guarino. I'm Chris Switzer, and of course, the Motormouth Radio Honor Group of the Hour gang. If you misplaced your spare set of car keys, you got one set, you don't have the other set. Well, get the crying towel out, pat yourself on the back. You're part of the Motormouth Radio Honor Group of the Hour. At least there's some good happened today.
We'll be back with answers to your car questions. Give us a call at 516-572-7440. Oh, I should have said the Motormouth thing.
WHPC, Garden City, New York. The voice of Nassau Community College.
Join WHPC's Daily News Wrap-Up, weekdays at 4:30 p.m., bringing you a complete report of the day's news home and abroad, as well as sports, weather, and many other informative features.
We're Long Island's FM alternative.
This is Antonio Huggy Bear Vargas, and you're listening to Motormouth on WHPC 90.3.
All righty, welcome back to Motormouth Radio. Taking those calls, 516-572-7440. Ray Guarino, I'm Chris Switzer. Wow. Talking trash, talking stuff. What's coming up next week?
Nothing. I got to get people on board here. I've actually...
nothing's coming up, so
no, selling the show. I have a few people that I've contacted who said they'd be interested in coming on, but they haven't solidified a date. Now I got to get back to them and say, hey, what's going on? We're doing this or what?
Crack the whip.
Yeah. Well, people, I guess they're busy. Actually, one of the guys I'm scouting is Lou Santiago, and you may or may not know the name. He's on a show on, I always forget. There's so many car shows, I forget what channels they're on. I forget if it's on Discovery or if it's on Velocity. It's called Car Fix. You can Google it and see. And Lou is from the area. He's a New York guy originally, and now they do this show, him and another fella.
Does he name those cars with cutesy, clever names?
No. Well, they take a car, and it's a project-based show, so they'll take a car in, and they'll show how to either do, say, like a suspension upgrade, or maybe one subsystem that they're going to do in that show. They did do a Camaro, a second-gen Camaro, where they rebuilt the whole thing and did it really, really slick. And then it became a giveaway car. Believe me, I tried to get it. For the giveaway, and I didn't get it.
Oh, boy.
So they do anything from just subsystem stuff to full, complete builds, and they do some really nice stuff. And, of course, they're using, new stuff, cutting-edge manufacturer stuff, showcasing the products and all. That's the way the game is played.
Yeah, very cool.
So we're trying to get Lou on, and hopefully we'll talk about that.
That sounds like fun. Speaking of radio giveaways and contests, did you go on your dinner date compliments of a certain radio station that you won a contest from?
No, I didn't. I did pick up the certificate, and I noticed it's dated. I have until it's good for a year. Oh. And I did notice something on the certificate. It said number 10 of 40. So I was curious about, when a sponsor makes a benediction or benefaction or
that makes sense. When he gives out stuff,
there's only a certain amount, and they right. The Brick Cafe did give 40 of these things, so that makes sense.
So you can't make copies of it, I'm assuming.
Well, no, I mean this way, they're on the hook for 40 dinners,
right?
Well, actually, 80 dinners because it's for two people, dinner for two, and they do limit it at $50. They put a cap on it.
Yeah, the surf and turf for the whole neighborhood is out.
So it's a $2,000 disbursement on their part, which is
pretty hefty.
Sizable for a small place. That's sizable.
Do you know what this show can do with $2,000? This show right here.
Yeah, we could almost like having a sponsor. But that's it. And I have noticed. I'll tell you. Speaking of that, this isn't what we usually talk about, but I've noticed lately that the state of radio and newsprint is down. It's been very bad. But I've noticed in the newspapers I read, and I read two of them every day, hard copies, that the amount of ads recently in the last couple of weeks has really skyrocketed. So I'm wondering if newspaper sales are down, how are they selling the ads? And I'm talking full-page and double-page ads for furniture places. How are they doing that? Unless they're dropping their prices drastically
there you go.
To try and make it up in volume?
Yep.
Wow.
That's exactly it. That's exactly it. I would say that is the case. Radio hasn't done that yet, because radio still has a high overhead. I mean, newspapers do too, but radio I think has a much more of an overhead now because newspapers can pair it off in a way. I mean, Daily News just fired how many? Two well-known sports writers.
TV columnist is gone too,
and I think the editor was gone. I think they went from the top. They lopped off from the top,
right.
which is frightening if you think about it. That's what keeps guys like us gainfully employed because they're not going to lop us off because we're not at the top.
Yeah, there you go. Good point.
You'll always hear Motormouth Radio because they're not going to dig that deep to start throwing people out. We're not going to go to our level.
Yeah, no.
To throw us out.
Enough of corporate. I noticed something the other night, about a week ago on TV that I want to address. And again, it was on the show Fast and Loud that we speak about occasionally. Aaron Kaufman and Richard Rawlings.
And the slick guy.
They got called in. Richard got called in to buy a cache of first-gen Camaros, 67 to 69 Camaros in Texas. This guy had it's either 16 or 17 complete cars.
Come on.
Everything from six-cylinder, automatics to some big block cars. And I noticed as they pan through, I saw some New York inspection registration stickers on these cars, older ones. The gentleman had said that he and his wife had got into collecting them. And it started innocuously. I'll get a parts car. The next thing you know, his wife was into it. They ended up with 16 or 17 of these cars in a huge building and enough parts, they said, to build what looked like 20 more cars. Wow. We're talking chassis, engines, transmissions, interiors. I mean, a huge parts cache.
And they were selling this thing the whole lot.
Lock, stock, and barrel, take it all. What happened? The guy's wife had passed away, and now he said, I lost interest. He goes, I don't care. I'm done. Take it. So Richard said, wow, this is an opportunity. Obviously, he goes, but I really want just the cars. I don't want the parts. So he called in his buddy, his other money man buddy, and they were going to buy the whole thing. But what they did was they called another guy who they know deals in Camaro parts. Because the idea was if we could buy this lot and sell all the parts to him, we keep the cars, everybody gets what they want.
Right.
And what ended up happening was the second guy, instead of buying the cars, he bought the whole lot from them.
Oh.
He bought the cars and the parts from them. So they basically just flipped and flipped, just flipped it in one shot. But it made a clear delineation of like what Richard Rawlings does. He's just a car flipper.
Mm-hmm.
He had no love or no, like you're looking at these parts, and if you're restoring one of these cars, you're like, my God, this guy has everything. Look, there's the console. How many steering columns you got? 20. But the parts to him were a nuisance. They weren't the gold that they really are to somebody who has the time and the space.
One man's junk.
That's the thing. He's in it for the big chunk. He wants the car. And the other guy who came that sells the parts you could tell he's a builder. He's a builder. So he sees the parts for the value as well as the cars, of course. And it just kind of really made that clear delineation of the people who are the car guys to buy and sell, realize the value of the car, realize the value of the thing in front of them and sell it. And the guys who, you can see the parts guy had a love for the hobby, had a love for those parts meant something to him even though they weren't his.
Mm.
And they of course they didn't address that in the show, but I think that's what I read in just by watching it.
You just described you and I, you know that.
Pretty much,
yeah,
on a small scale.
Yeah, because I would have done the very same thing. I would have totally flipped. If I had the opportunity to flip something like that, maybe I would have saved one. I would have put one aside. I would have found something nice, maybe not the best one of the bunch, but I would have probably found something nice, put it aside. But the block, the whole lot of it, let it go.
I could go another way. I could see if he was to take those 16 cars and even pair off half of them, whatever, and say, you know what, he's got space now. Put 6 or 8 of them in your back lot, and then every once in a while, when you need a project, hey, pull out another Camaro. Let's do that one that's that factory big block car, or the one that was the 6-cylinder with the bench seat and the column shift, the quirky one. Let's do that one.
Yeah, but you still have to remember, you have to maintain these vehicles. You can't just stick it in the back lot and go and expect it to be there intact.
See, by back lot, he's got indoor storage, so it's really not a back lot. It's still things denigrate in indoor storage too, but not like when they're outside.
But they're not gonna, unless the building got broken into, you're not going to have an issue. If it's outside, you may come back and find pieces missing.
You don't want to wait too long.
No.
Like Mark Warman's doing at Graveyard Cars, his new facility. It's acres, and he has the cars all lined up along the wall outside. His new show premiered last week. This is season, I forget if it's season 4 or 5A they're calling it. 'Cause it was a continuation of last season for some reason. Why, I don't know.
Right.
With a whole new crew.
He discussed it on motormouthradio.com. We interviewed him, and he definitely discussed it. When was it? It had to be back around June, I think it was, right?
I can look, and I can tell you, I reached out to him for some reason, and because I saw the blurb for the new season. Let's see, was it indeed in June? No. Was it in July? No. Mark Warman was August 2nd. so much for that's why we don't. That's why I write things down, because I wouldn't have been able to venture a guess either.
That's funny.
Yeah, go to motormouthradio.com, download page, August 2nd. You can hear the Mark Warman interview where he talks about this season.
Right, exactly. Now, we're having up in November, we have a special guest, don't we?
We have...
Is that a definite maybe?
Well, we do have County Executive Ed Mangano planned to be in the studio to talk about cars.
Yes.
So that's as long as something else doesn't come up in his schedule, we're on schedule.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see what happens.
So this fine, upstanding establishment is going to wait up until then before they yank us out and put some obscure gardening show there.
Mark did something on his show this week. They had this Akuta that they had. It was legendary in Oregon. It was crashed, and then it went through different hands, and it was like balled up crashed. Mm-hmm. And it went in a field. It's been underground, actually buried. It's been underwater at his shop. It's been in all these nasty places, and they're restoring it.
And it has a cutesy name too, right?
That wasn't the Commando Cuda.
Yeah, I forgot.
Might be the Commando Cuda.
I forgot what it was, but it does have a cutesy name.
But I have another piece out of a magazine that I want to boil down before but it points to exactly what Mark did. The question is the article says, how wrecked is wrecked? And you look at this Cuda and you'd say, oh my God, no, it's beyond restoration. Well, Mark proved that it's not.
Mm-hmm.
Anything is restorable.
Anything is restorable.
And what he did is he coupled with AMD, Auto Metal Direct. That's who he gets all his sheet metal from. And they actually did a lot of the installation, which they showed on last week's show, the installation of this new sheet metal, which came out to factory specs.
Amazing.
All the pinch welds and everything. So again, we'll argue, but we can talk about this later. But
Yes.
how much of the car is there? That's the point.
Food for thought for future episodes of this fine upstanding program, Motormouth Radio. That's Ray Guarino. I'm Chris Switzer. Of course, we will talk on Thursday. And the best advice we give, don't follow us home. See ya.
Bye.